Hey guys, welcome back to the Wolfsbane podcast. Today I have another very special guest with me. He's another very close friend of mine and I've known him for a very long time. He's also an avid munner. He's done a lot of MUNs in his time and he won a lot of them. And he's also pursuing law and in the end, in the future, he hopes to be a lawyer. So welcome, Ekam Khera. How are you? How have you been?
Doing good, man. What's up your side?
I'm good as well. I mean, I asked you to come on the podcast because I just think you've done so much so far in life, and I'm really like, it's like I call all of my friends, I'm proud of these guys who ever come on my podcast because I know I'm proud of you as well. So I thought I
Thank
had
you.
to bring you on someday.
Fair
So,
enough. Let's go.
so we'll just start with like basically the pandemic, it hit everyone, right? And everyone had their own way of dealing with it, coping with it, and doing things during the pandemic to keep them
Yeah.
occupied in a way. So I just wanted to ask you, how did the pandemic treat you? Like, how did you kind of survive through it in a way, because it was very tough on everybody? And what did you do in your spare time, because we already obviously had a lot of it?
So, to be very honest, this pandemic has been, in a very short answer, a literal pain in the ass. But yeah, I'm moving on and looking on the bright side. It's been going on. It's practically living the same day over and over and over again. But yeah, it's taught me a lot of new things, and I've learned to deal with situations, if that's what you want to call it. I got back into MUNs as a matter of fact. That's something I'm really happy with. So, MUNs I started way back in seventh grade, which was an early-ish start, but then back then it was a very early start because back then the MUN circuit wasn't really as diluted as it is today. So yeah, I started in seventh grade, and yeah, I'm glad to say that I'm finally back into the MUN circuit after about 4 years, if that's what you want to call it. And yeah, it's been a good ride. I'm practically doing one MUN every week. So yeah, it's an interesting journey. Otherwise, it's very normal. My parents started a kitchen during this pandemic, so that's another interesting thing. And it's been a tough ride, but it's been fun. And I've made various new discoveries about myself, the people around me, and yeah, that's about it.
I mean, you're completely right. It's been like a long ride of self-reflection in a way, where we really look
Yeah,
back on ourselves and see what must have went wrong before and how to fix it, and what's
yeah.
missing in our life. So it's really good to hear about that. And I'm like, obviously, congratulations for your parents' kitchen because it's doing really, really well. And I hope it becomes even
Thanks
bigger
a
and
lot, man.
eventually a
Thank you
restaurant
so
chain.
much.
And like you spoke about MUNs, like I'm not lying, you were one of the people who got me into it because you spoke so much about it. So I was so interested to get into it and just see what you were really talking about and experience it
Yeah.
in a way. So I just
As
wanted
a
to
matter
talk.
of fact, I do remember. Sorry for the interruption, but I do remember initially when I was talking about MUNs, you never were really interested. Like the first time I met you, I really didn't know who you were, and back then I practically I didn't even know who you are. But that was at my very first MUN, and after that, I don't really think you participated in any MUNs. And then, like 3 years down the line, I told you to get back into it, and you were like, "Nah, it's a waste of time." But then, yeah, you're finally into it like big time, and you're doing great. So that's good to know.
I know, it's actually really funny to realize that the first time we could have met each other was in an MUN, but it didn't happen. That's actually really
Yeah.
funny when I think about it. And but like you said, the MUN culture, it's dying out a lot. Like it's
A
not what
lot,
it
like
used to
big
be.
time. Yeah.
Precisely. And it's like even if you're trying to host a new MUN nowadays, it's very difficult to get people to really join it. You've built yourself up to be a confident speaker right now, and
Yeah.
doing MUNs, you've done all sorts of positions. You've done secretariat positions, you've done executive board positions, OC positions even, and you've chaired a lot. So I just wanted to ask you the different experiences between chairing and delegating, right? Where do you have more fun, and what are your kind of thoughts of chairing and delegating? Do you only chair now, or do you delegate as well, just to go back to your roots and enjoy it, I guess?
So of course I have delegated more than I have been a part of the executive board, but executive board, being a part of the executive board, that is one hell of an experience. It is interesting. It's tough, of course it's tough, right? It's not easy at all, but it's a very amazing experience. Delegating is still so much of fun because that's where the main speaking aspect comes in, right? So I really enjoy delegating, and I've done more of delegating than I've done of probably chairing, right? So both are amazing experiences at the end of the day. But I still, from like a fun aspect, I would still prefer delegating because that's where the fun is, right? But from like a growth perspective, an executive board position really helps out. You get to know people for starters. You understand, although this isn't really related, but your leadership skills also um, come in handy, right? So it's both of them are very interesting experiences, and yeah, I really look forward to doing each of them.
I mean, I agree with you. I think everyone has their own take on what they
Yeah,
prefer. And even I remember the first time I got into an MU and my chairs were so terrible that I was like, I'm gonna keep working, I'm gonna keep delegating and eventually work my way up to be a very fun chair, an amazing chair, and someone who
yeah,
is very goofy in general because you have a lot of strict
yeah,
chairs nowadays and it doesn't always become like fun in the end. So I try as much to be
definitely.
goofy as possible because I think as a chair, I have the ability to help people get better at communication, help people get better at diplomacy. And that's
Yeah.
what I really like about it. I like seeing their
And that
smiles.
first experience also like really matters, right? That first experience can either make it for you or it can break it for you. Having a good first time executive board is really important because I'll be honest, right? My first MUN, I had a horrible executive board. I really didn't like them, right? But something just told me to get back into it, and I got back into it, and post that I had a great executive board. I guess that's what kept me going back. And yeah, so a good executive board is so important.
I couldn't agree more. And the fact that anything you do, any competition you
Yeah,
do, and this is not only like that something that you and I understood, it's something that I want to tell the audience as well. That no matter what competition you do, no matter what job, event, internship you do, it's very important to take advice. It's very important to be under the guidance of someone because I learn something
exactly.
new every day, even though I and Ekam both were experienced delegates and experienced chairs, if I can say that now, that we still learn something every day. We still learn new things every day, and it's always nice to take guidance because there's always going to be someone who knows something you don't, and that's not never a bad thing. So,
There's
th-
always someone who knows more than you, someone who can guide you, and you should always take that guidance.
exactly, and I just wanted to come back to that because I love giving advice at the end of the MUN to delegates, a
Yeah.
nice feedback. Delegates love giving feedback to the chairs at the end of the MUN, and because you've done so many, I just wanted to kind of ask you the best feedback or the best guidance or the best words that you've ever received from a chair, from an OC member, anybody throughout your MUN journey.
So again, going back, my best feedback was the first MUN I was a part, not a part of the executive board. The first MUN I was a chair at was probably the best feedback I've ever received, right? Because of course I started off from a very low position in the entire hierarchy, right? And I moved on from that to vice chair and then to chair. So my first chair experience was probably the best feedback I've ever received, and it was really fun to know because yeah, I was that goofy chair everyone wanted, right? Not overselling myself, but yeah, people were happy seeing a goofy chair in there, right? We were cracking jokes when it was time to crack jokes. Of course formality was kept during our main sessions, but when it was time to be informal, we were informal, and the committee really did enjoy that. So that was probably the best feedback I've ever received. Of course, I don't know what they really said during the feedback sessions, but then the secretariat did inform me that I had some great feedback from the entire committee. And some delegates also took the initiative to personally text me and give me feedback and like tell me, thanks, chair, you were great. So yeah, I really did enjoy that. It's always a good feeling, right? And yeah, that's
I
about
mean,
it.
that's the reason I still do what I do as chair. I
Yeah,
still do a lot of chairing events because of the really kind messages that delegates give at the end of the day. And
true.
it makes me so happy to see that everyone went home like peacefully. I mean, now they are home because it's online, but everyone went to
Yeah.
sleep with a smile on their faces, which is something I really, really like to see. And talking really about law in general, I wanted to get your perspective on like law and doing law in India, like as your undergraduate, graduate, whatever, versus doing law abroad. Like because I think in India, law is like a top three favorites among parents, other than doctor and engineer. Law is
Yeah, that's the stereotypical aspect we have, right? But then doing law in India versus doing law out of India, right? So I'll talk about the technical aspects of it first, right? So taking the United States for an example, they have this requirement for law schools wherein you already need to have a bachelor's degree, right? And I thought, why not just do my bachelor's in law from India itself, right? And if, for example, I go ahead to do further legal studies from the United States of America, it's just gonna give me a broad outlook, right? I'll have a degree from India, I'll have a degree from the United States of America, and both would be law-based degrees, right? It gives me two places to work at. It gives me a much broader vision, if that's what you want to call it, right? So that's there. And then if you look at Europe, for example, right? UK wasn't really a place I was targeting much, so I'm not going to talk about it. But then if you look at places like Germany, which was a big target for me, I really wanted to go there. You need to know German to study law there. And learning German is not my cup of tea, honestly. So, yeah, I kind of didn't go ahead with it. I know there are some universities which do take courses in English itself, right? But German is still a major requirement to have an education in places like Germany, of course, and certain neighboring countries which do have their primary language as German. So that is another reason I couldn't target that area much. So I, along with my parents, of course, decided that I would do my bachelor's from India itself, and post that, of course it's a long way to decide post that, right? But I would either slowly move on to pursuing further an international degree in from probably the United Kingdom, for example, because although that wasn't a target for my bachelor's, it is a target for like my after bachelor's, like master's, for example. And yeah, it's a long journey, but it's an interesting one and an expensive one. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, but it's a long way ahead. Times change, people change, things change. So yeah, that's about it.
I mean, obviously, the decision that you made along with your parents must have been a really lengthy one because it's not something that
Yeah.
you take very lightly. Obviously, foreign education can be very expensive, especially when you're going from India to a country like US or UK, targeting really good colleges. It can be very, very expensive. So I'm sure your decision was a good one because you've taken so much time and effort into checking out the different things you can do and the research you've done. However, in India, there are so many like kind of competitive exams for different colleges. You have LSAT and you have CLAT, which is CLAT, which is one of the most famous ones. I just wanted to
Yeah.
ask you, as like a normal law student or someone in 10th who is planning to pursue law or someone in 11th who is planning to pursue law, are you doing LSAT or are you doing CLAT or are you doing both? Like, what would you recommend even? And what is your kind of overview on these two subjects, on examinations, I mean?
Yeah. So I, as a matter of fact, am attempting both the CLAT and the LSAT, but I'm not really a big fan of the CLAT, right? So, firstly, for people who want to do law and are confused between both these exams, right? It basically matters on what college you're targeting. Each college accepts a particular exam, right? And in India, most colleges accept CLAT, right? They don't accept LSAT. It's practically like it basically does depend on your college. So, what you want to attempt, just do whatever your college accepts, your target college accepts. Although I still would recommend doing both of them. Now, moving back to why I don't like CLAT, right? So there's this very interesting section they have called general awareness. It's basically about general studies, right? And I get some questions in it, but then I'll give you a quick example, right? I don't remember what year this was asked in, but they once asked everyone who was attempting the paper who the winner of, if I'm not wrong, the 64th Filmfare Awards was. Okay, and I gave up right there. That's it's messed up according to me, right? Of course, I am attempting both of them, and I am working towards acing both of them, hopefully. But LSAT is my favorite exam out of the lot. Of course, this is the Indian variant of the LSAT, but the LSAT is a logic-based paper. It's logically driven, and that is something I can happily attempt sample LSAT papers in my spare time. Okay, I would not mind. So I like the LSAT paper. I prefer it over the CLAT exam. But yeah, I am attempting both because the colleges I am targeting accept the CLAT and the others accept LSAT. So yeah, that's there. And if anyone is pursuing law, if you have the mental capacity to do so, attempt both the papers, get both of them. Even if you don't want to submit them to your university, you do get various attempts, right? So you can submit the best one, but attempt both of them. It gives you an idea of your standing, and of course, it helps with your admission. It is necessary for your admission. So yeah, that's there.
I mean, like you said, it's not very easy. It's even though LSAT has like a logic-based approach comparatively, and CLAT has a lot more. None of them or either of them are not an easy field at all. It requires a lot of practice. It requires a
Definitely.
lot of dedication as well to do. I mean, not just attempt the paper, but do well and get into good colleges. So
Exactly.
I mean, it must be really hectic. I don't really want to compare it to any other examinations, but I'm sure it's equally hectic. And I just wanted to get
Yeah.
a general idea of what your day looks like because I have a friend I have a lot of friends who are JE students and NEET students, and their days look awfully busy, sadly busy, if I might say. But I mean, it's obviously necessary because of the portion and how
Yeah.
much is required. So I just wanted to get like idea of what your day looks like.
So, of course, after post my online classes, it's basically a jumble of study, play, exercise, and stuff like that, right? Of course, after online classes, I do take a break. I relax, probably get some food, of course, and yeah, I've post I'm done taking a quick break, chilling out and stuff. I do get on with my competitive exam preparation. I either pick up LSAT for that day or I do CLAT for that day, which is again followed by a break because, of course, we all love breaks, right? And yeah, this is my initial preparation, which is then followed by if something important is going on in school. I do tend to prioritize that at times, and I do study to, of course, get the marks. And post that, of course, during the evenings, I play football for an hour or two daily, and which is followed by a run. I do run daily around the entire society. And if I do have some time left, I try to get a quick workout in, right? And that's pretty much it. I have lunch, I have dinner, I go to sleep late as I shouldn't be doing, but yeah, that's pretty much about it.
I mean, we've known each other for such a long time, and like you said, you play football a lot during the evenings. I love playing football a lot during the evenings, and we've regularly had a lot of conversations about the games that are happening,
Yeah.
the Premier League, the Copa, the Euros, which recently happened even. And firstly, I think I'll start with the Euros because I want to keep the
Yeah.
Copas for a little later because I know you like that much more. But for the Euros, firstly, did you kind of expect Italy to win? Did you see that they were in that streak? And how was your reaction to the way it ended?
All right. To be honest, I did not expect Italy to even reach the finals, right? I know they were on a winning streak, but I really did not expect them to touch the finals. I was shocked rather that they did. But following certain events, I'm a controversial opinion, but I'm glad Italy won, right? They did deserve it. They had a great team this time around. And moving on to the finals, right? There were some very controversial events before the finals, even in the semi-finals, for example, right? And if you are not living under a rock, you'd probably know about the entire controversy around England, right? and how the laser incident happened, and the attitude of the fans towards everyone around, right? So, although, and I'm not giving every English fan that uh, headline or highlight, right? But yeah, this was the general outlook, right? And I was one of those people who did want Italy to win, as a matter of fact, over England. And yeah, I was supporting England all the way from the very beginning, and it pained me to see Saka miss that penalty, right? But again, that's how it goes, and I'm glad Italy won. They did deserve it. They really did. They put on a tough fight, and it was good seeing them win.
I mean, I'm glad that you mentioned Saka because following the match, Saka, Rashford, and I think another African English member of the England team received a lot of racist hate
A
and a lot
lot
of
of it,
hate
and
in
that
general.
really was unwarranted. It pained me to see all of that, read the news, read tweets regarding that on Twitter, and it's really sad to see the all the hate, racism driven hate that they have been receiving. It's sad rather, and I really wish this didn't happen. But then yeah, that's how it's going on these days, and it's a tough thing for all three of them to go through this. And along with the hate, there's also been a lot of support and love they've been shown by the entire football community and people in general. And of course, looking at the bright side, that's there. But this really shouldn't have happened. The hate they've received, the abuse, the racist abuses, for example, and it's not really something you'd like to see.
I mean, precisely, and it's something that you wouldn't normally expect. You would expect people to kind of understand about it, but it's 2020. We live
Yeah,
in a world where there's exclusives for everything. There's still people who are gonna hate, and this was very unfortunate. But what was fortunate is the amount of love that they got from all the people around them and all the English fans. And as
definitely.
an English fan myself, I wanted England to win in that finals. And even though it was extremely kind of hard, I say, to see England lose, I still think Italy did a fantastic job and they deserved it because the
Yeah,
pressure they put on the players was amazing and they played a good game. They played a good game. There was less controversy and
definitely.
you could see the quality of football really shine in that. And comparatively, going to a place which was had a little less controversy and more celebration, the Copas. For the first
Yeah,
time in forever, actually, all of us saw Messi taking the cup home, and I just wanted to know, as I know you're a huge Messi fan, I'm a huge Messi fan. He's the greatest player of all time, the GOAT for both of us. And how was it like seeing him take the cup home? Because I know you stayed awake for that match as well.
imagine, all right, a teenager running on 2 cans of Coke and a cup of coffee, waking up rather an hour before the match, and just screaming out loud at about 7:30 a.m., right? I was elated. I was going mad right then, okay? I was on a Discord call with a few people, friends who were also watching the game, and we went crazy. It was like I'm getting goosebumps right now just reliving that moment, right? And it was one of the best moments of my life. I was so happy that Messi finally got to lift that trophy, and it was such an amazing experience watching that live. And I'm just really glad. Like, even if you look at the end of the game, it meant a lot. It really meant a lot for the entire team, and especially for Messi, right? It was a team effort, but it meant so much for Messi. If you've seen the match, you would see how at the end of the match he literally just fell down on the ground and he got emotional, and that was something that was great to see. Not him getting emotional, of course. It was good emotional, but the team winning the trophy after such a long dry spell, that was amazing.
I mean,
Real amazing.
exactly. The feeling was really there because, I mean, sadly, I went to sleep in time, but as soon as I got up, that was the first thing I looked up on Google, that what happened in the match. And when I saw 1-0, I was so happy. I knew we were going to
Yeah.
talk about it the same day as well. And some of the best moments I think of that were not even the game, it was after the game when Messi and Neymar kind of hugged each other and gave each other
Yeah,
words of wisdom.
that was some amazing sportsmanship from Neymar. That
Exactly.
was amazing. Of course, he was gutted to not win the Copa America, but the friendship between both of them, that was amazing to see.
Exactly. That these are moments that we love to see, especially because they're both our favorite players. Neymar and Messi, they
Yeah,
are like kind of our inspirations in a lot of ways, and it was glad to see them, even though they're on different sides this time, to come together in the end and really celebrate the fact that okay, one of my boys is doing well. I might as well give
yeah,
him like a good luck, and I'm really happy for Messi. But talking about Messi, it's really, even though it was so happy for us to see him do well in the Copa, it's kind of sad because we know that it's coming to an end eventually, and
it's coming to an end.
he's getting older, and even
Yeah,
though he's still a spectacular player, he'll still outrun most players today, but he's not what he used to be, and that's the same case for a lot of older players. Like even Ibrahimovic has changed teams. You have Iniesta left the
yeah.
club a few years ago. Suarez left Barcelona. Even Ronaldo is getting old. So like basically we're coming to the end of an era of prime era for Barcelona, and I just wanted to know, like, firstly, how do you feel about this happening? Like, because we used to cherish so many MSN moments, Messi, Neymar, Suarez moments before,
Yeah.
and what is it like, kind of leaving behind these goats of football, and kind of acknowledging the fact that we need to move on eventually?
I'm just glad I got to see all of these wonderful players in action. I got to see them live. Of course, I still haven't had the opportunity to go to a stadium and see them play, but I'm just so glad that I got to see them live and I got to experience the magic each of them has created. It was wonderful living at the same time as them, as a matter of fact. And it's just mind-boggling what they do, right? It's such a wonderful thing to watch. And of course, I would be heartbroken the day Messi, Ronaldo, or any of the before mentioned players, they do retire, they set foot on the pitch for the last time. It's going to be a sad thing to see, right? But of course, all good things come to an end. That's something you need to accept, right? But it's been an absolute blast watching them, and it's going to be till whenever they play.
I mean, I can like relate in every word you said, because it's completely right. I've just like cherishing these moments and realizing that right now it's just you need to see the last moments of these great,
Yeah,
great players, and it's not in the. It's like come to a point where people have just stopped comparing Messi and Ronaldo anymore because we just want to live through it. You want to enjoy their play
exactly.
more than comparing them, and it's lovely to see. But talking about future football, I wanted to know your favorite players of the newer generation, and who
Yeah.
kind of excites you moving forward. Who do you think has a spot for those balloon doors, those future ones?
All right, so yeah, there's a lot of talent moving around. And firstly, I'd like to name the entire young Chelsea squad. There are a bunch of amazing youngsters. They play such wonderful games, and yeah, I couldn't be happier seeing them in the Champions League. Right? It was they play some amazing games, and it's great to see them all working together hand in hand. Then we have Haaland, right? My apologies if I'm pronouncing his name wrong, but again, what a wonderful player he is. Some of Barca's own academy, right? Barca Academy. They've produced some wonderful players, and I'm really looking forward to see them grow as individuals. And of course, you can't expect the entire Messi, Ronaldo, Neymar, Suarez, Abramovich squad to come back together in the next generation, right? But we've got some wonderful football ahead of us. There's some amazing youngsters out there with some amazing talent on their hands. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to what the next generation of football has coming for us.
And on that note, I would just like to thank you once again for coming on the podcast. Hey guys, thank you so much for reaching the end of the video. Please consider supporting the channel by hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button, and most importantly leaving a comment down below, because I will read every single one. There'll be new episodes coming out every single week, so please don't miss out on them. I'll see you next week. Peace out.